What's up? This is Andrew here with David Schloss of Convert ROI from convertroi.com. And I just wanted to bring David in and chat with him for a little bit about what he's doing. I followed him a bit on social media, and I don't know, you can usually get a good feel. Maybe it's just like a marketer thing, but you can get a good feel when somebody's got the juice, and you just know they know what they're talking about, they know what they're doing. They're not full of shit. They're not posting how I got 10x on this client, every month, stuff like that. And then, at the very bottom of that stuff, there's a link to have a call or something like that. Anyways, this is David, brand new dad. So he's adjusting to fatherhood. And David, I had a few questions on here I was going to go through with you, and just really, I had these calls informally, and we just kind of just shoot the shit, to be honest. How long you been running Facebook ads for?
This would be year 13.
Year 13.
Yeah.
It's double my time. I think that was back in the day when there's only a skyscraper kind of banner ad on the left side of Facebook.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg's face was zeros and ones.
It was
top.
pretty much just the right hand side or left hand, because they were split testing with those long banners, and everything was a cent. Everything was super cheap, but you had very little targeting options, and it would just be blasting the whole network for the most part. So basically I was in when the network opened to the public, not even to the corporate entities, because they got it a year or two earlier. Facebook's been around for a long time. People forget that. So, I was just literally, you were spamming back then because people didn't know what the hell they were doing, right? It was just throw up an affiliate link, throw up whatever link you got, and then just put the money in there and just pray that something works, and then it sort of evolved over time when they got smart. But been on the network since then.
When did you because I looked on Facebook, I see it says joined, and I think I joined 2005 whenever I was at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
When did you join?
Around 2006. Because I went to University of Florida in 07. Back then it was you had to be a college student. Mm-hmm. As soon as I was 18, I actually just went ahead and signed up. I didn't even have a college yet. It's because I was 18, they let me right in, right? Yeah. So as soon as I turned 18, it was boom, you're in there. All right, well, I have no friends on this network, so I'm just going to play around and just look around and see what's up. So I've been on since around 06, 07. I'd say I went heavy in 07, but I had a profile in 06.
Yeah. So whenever you first started doing them, you were just, I'm guessing, just doing affiliate link blasts kind of for yourself and all that stuff.
Yeah. All you had to do back then was a status update barely got traction, right? It was just people were reading your status, right? What are you doing? Yeah. How are you feeling? That type of thing. And I may have had a couple hundred friends here and there, no biggie. So whenever I was looking at doing something business related, I would just post about what I was doing, right? Learning blogging today, gonna make some money, right? Just random stuff. Yeah. Because back then, if I put up a link, there was no preview to the link. It was just a link, and if people clicked it, great. But otherwise, it looked like you were spamming if you put up a link back then, because there was really nothing to preview.
Do you remember your first client?
Yep. In 2007, I signed a property management company for $500 a month. And that was an interesting one because I was also doing SEO, and I learned enough web design to build an affiliate site, rank it, throw some ads at it. I was doing all that stuff myself while still in college, by the way. I was getting a degree and doing this stuff at the same exact time, full schedule. And so it was interesting, but I figured out how to make it work enough in the little city of Naples, Florida, to get them enough enough ads in place to where people would see it and be like, oh, I actually am either around that town or I'm in that state, whatever it is. And back then it's there was no retargeting. It was just boom, blast it, see what happens. Maybe you could set the city or zip at the time, and then that was it. Not money interests or keywords or anything like that. It was just blast it. And actually they did get some clients from it. I just didn't understand the value of what I was doing because people didn't know what Facebook was back then.
Yeah.
What is this profile I have to sign up for? You know?
I think my first one was like a painter. I think it was either in real estate, or I feel like it was a painter, and it was like $300 a month or something like that. I think the leads, I mean, they ended up being like just like terrible quality because starting out, you feel like you know what you're doing, and then it's like you have people that come to you, and you're like, you had this kind of niche that you maybe dabbled in and worked in a little bit, and somebody's like, hey, by the way, can you sell like Cat 5 cables for me? And you're like, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, you pick up a client, now all of a sudden you're like running Cat 5 cable ads, and yeah, but come leaps and bounds since then. For 2020, what do you see as like the biggest trends in Facebook ads?
So the narrative is still that it's getting more expensive, right? That's the narrative right now. Now, I do see that Facebook's making adjustments to their deliverability, the amount of placements that are available. Right? They're going to add in Oculus and all these other opportunities for. Yeah, a lot of people forgot about it, right? So they have like the VR advertising that'll be on the way, or AR even, augmented reality stuff. They'll integrate more shopping opportunities with Instagram, where it's like you can, just pin where different elements of, like, let's say like a fashion image is like, oh, it's this watch and this t-shirt and these pants, and you'll have multi-point opportunities to sell through Instagram. But I think now they're going to put more attention, even though they put a lot of attention on Messenger, they haven't really put a lot of attention on WhatsApp, which is essentially the messenger, right? They're going to integrate it eventually, completely integrate it. And not many people are talking about that, because I have a lot of international clients, and most of them are using WhatsApp. They're not even using Messenger. And so I think they're going to put a lot more attention on that for people, especially their international advertisers. And, otherwise they're just going to be fixing this spam issue and their algorithmic issues pretty much all year, with the crazy shutdowns that have been experienced in the last 6 months. Things getting flagged for politics that have nothing to do with politics, or things that are flagged as employment when it has nothing to do with that either. So I feel like this is almost the year where they're fixing things versus adding more to it, because the last 3 years they've been doing nothing but adding. And the advertisers like us are looking at stuff going, oh, this is cool. Thank you for this Instagram thing and this Messenger thing, but you're still shutting down stuff that is completely on par with your policy. Can you get that fixed next? Or can you stop restricting my advertising access when I haven't done anything wrong? So it's like they're obviously going to have to do some work there. But I also feel like the little guy just doesn't get much of they don't get a lot of support understanding the network. They don't really give you a chance, right? There's no 3-strike system. It's basically 1 strike and you're gone. Yeah. So I feel like they're going to be putting a lot more attention on that, at least from the conversations I've had with my rep, which is they have a lot of internal stuff they got to fix. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few other, I've got a main rep, and then I've got like a couple others just through clients that I work with. And I've noticed a good amount of them. There's like a lot of shuffling around.
A lot of shuffling
of reps, and then getting assigned new reps. And then, you don't hear anything for like a month or two and all that. I noticed that sometimes our videographer will accidentally render videos as 360 and then you upload it and it won't upload, and you're like, what the hell? Like, the video works, but it's Facebook saying on there that the error is like we don't yet support 360 videos. And so that makes sense a little bit maybe with Oculus, and that when you render videos, if you can render them out as like 360, that maybe once people start using those things, that's cool. I've completely forgot about Oculus.
They barely talk about it. It's mentioned here and there. They've been pushing Portal. They've been putting commercials out there for Portal, which is just their their face-to-face messenger integration, basically. Their competition with Skype for the most part. And I'm like, are they going to throw ads in this too? Like, is this eventually going to have like banner ads in like the bottom of your conversation? Because anytime they've introduced a new platform or some way of communication, ads always get added 6 to 12 months later. Like when they developed Messenger, not just the inbox, like when they really made it a fully functional bot capable messenger, all of a sudden you noticed, oh, there's ads showing up in Messenger on mobile. There's ads showing up on desktop. Now I can run ManyChat stuff. Like that's how ManyChat was born, right? As soon as Messenger had the capabilities of integrating bots, it's like all these bot companies were born, and now you can advertise through that. So as soon as they figure out whether or not people are using Portal, whether or not Oculus has enough users, they'll eventually add some form of advertising there. The thing is, they got to figure out how to open it up to the advertisers that actually want to use it, right? I'm not going to have an Oculus device and want to see an internet marketer's product on my VR TV screen. You
Stop
see what
what
I'm
you're
saying?
doing right now. If you're in,
I'm not going to want that. But if you show me something like, you know, this really cool gadget from some e-com store, I might pay attention to that, right? It's really just going to be dependent on how they plan to roll it out. And some of the companies that want to spend the most are the ones that they're like, sorry, we don't take your products. You know what I mean? Like the CBD companies, not the crypto ones anymore, but like the CBD companies are like, can we please just run some ads somewhere? Right? Because they're not getting any love whatsoever. And then, of course, politicians will spend a boatload, but you got to go through 5 different steps before you can run a political ad, right? So there's all these things that they got to work through before these placements are opened up. Otherwise, we'll just be getting course ads in our virtual reality environment in the next 6 to 12 months. So
interactive course. I'll be right there teaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you ever put a portal in your house?
Hell no.
Yeah, either.
I don't have an Amazon Alexa. I don't have Echo. I don't have the Google Home. I don't have any of that stuff. The funny thing is that I say that, and then I go, I really like all those alert devices, though. You know what I mean? Like the smart lock type of stuff. And I look at that and I'm like, wait a minute, that's exactly the same thing, except one's not talking to me, but it's still taking over my household. You know what I'm saying? Like it's on the Wi-Fi network. It's still capable of being hacked and things of that nature. Simply Safe is like the big one right now because their ads are everywhere, where it's like control your house and every window and all this stuff. I'm like, that's cool. But if someone hacks my phone, are you basically telling me they can walk right into my house? So there's all these things that I'm like, they all look cool, but I'm only looking at them for advertising opportunities, not to just integrate it into my life completely. So yeah.
You have any family that's away from you?
Quite a bit, yeah.
You'll probably end up getting an Amazon Echo, I feel like.
I think I'm pretty sure my dad is going to be the first one to do that because he's a tech geek and he buys everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if he magically gets one, and then I'm like, great.
We got that. We put it in the kitchen, and like my mom has one. She's states away in Maryland, and she'll be able to like chat with our daughter or whatnot. And so I mean, it's like it's good in that aspect, but I mean, still, I mean, you still like people are in your house basically listening. And my wife and I, like we were talking the other day, 2 conversations like I feel like in the past week. One of them was literally about somebody way back in the day that she used to know. Some like guy who like went to jail, and like he went to jail for like 10 years or something. And then literally like 2 days later, it had a recommended friend, and it was that guy. She's like, geez. Holy shit, he got out of jail. Like, and now he's like a recommended friend. It's like, she's like, babe, look at this. This is like so weird.
Yeah.
And then another conversation was we were talking about Bigfoot, and average conversation about Bigfoot.
Yeah. Just a regular conversation.
So we were talking about Bigfoot and like what somebody was saying about Bigfoot and how he like is travels through dimensions or something like that. I don't know. I was just like, I was just relaying a conversation. I wasn't like on board with it. But then like the very next day, she starts getting articles suggested for you articles on Bigfoot and if he's real and like okay. And so like now she's getting Bigfoot. I'm just like, I like to think that it's like, no, we're not listening and picking up on keywords, but like, I don't know, man, that's like so specific. And it's just, I mean, it can happen. There's probability, but it just seems way too unlikely that an ad would come through for Bigfoot.
Every person that has Facebook on their phone hasn't read the terms of service when they accept the app, right? Our microphones are automatically enabled the moment we download that app. And even when we turn it off, I still see stuff popping up in my feed that I was talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And let's not forget, if I have WhatsApp on my phone, I'm sure the terms in there also state the microphone's on. So it's like, yeah, I might turn off the Facebook and Instagram microphone capability, but I might have forgot WhatsApp. Next thing you know, boom, all these conversations keep popping up. And same thing with, I'm sure a lot of these other companies like Amazon, they'll take that audio data and sell it to the other companies too. So it's like, no matter what, I don't really know if you can get away from it unless you're just completely off the grid for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and even just saying that out loud, I'm like, well, if the inevitable is that they're going to hear my conversations anyway, why would I be scared of getting an Alexa or getting whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's just the fact that I don't want to have every single thing enabled at all times, where it's like, I'm just trying to do my thing and enjoy my life. I don't need all of my conversations to be recorded, you know, especially with cookieless browsers going to be available in the next year or so, where it's like Chrome doesn't have cookies anymore and Safari has everything blocked and Firefox is blocking everything. So it's like, okay, if you're going to stop allowing cookies for retargeting, no problem. You're just going to hear everything we're saying, and that's how we're going to be retargeted. You know, it's you're not really providing an extra layer of privacy. What you're really just doing is addressing what everyone's concerned about right now when they forget that this is the thing that's really getting all that data in the first place.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
Do you do any speaking gigs ever?
Yeah. I usually will do a couple gigs a year. Last year was a different situation, mainly just preparation for the kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually would speak, you know, anywhere 2 to 4 times a year. I'm very selective with what I talk about and with whom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't just go to some random event and it's like, oh, there's 50 realtors here, so I'm going to talk about real estate advertising, right? It's more along the lines of who's actively advertising. Am I in a room full of people who understand at least something that I'm talking about? So that way I can expand upon the more advanced layers of how to utilize the network to its fullest.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who likes to sit down and be like, click this button and go do this thing. And now you have an ad for $25 a day. It's like, no, buy a course and learn that stuff. I want to walk you through, you know, how we optimize this to generate phone calls every day, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But definitely do a lot more gig. I'm going to be speaking a lot more this year. That's for sure.
Do you sell any courses?
I have one coming out later this month.
Oh, okay, cool. What's that about?
It's just going to be finally every single thing that I know about ads for the most part, just put into one. I'm tired of seeing courses that are like broken up into 5 pieces, where it's like, if you just combine them all into one, you'd have the real course instead of just buying a bunch of micro courses.
Yeah.
So I'm putting all of my knowledge into the course around, you know, basically the fundamentals of advertising, Facebook and Instagram. You'll have how to do it with webinars, how to do it with, I call them high ticket funnels, just basically the phone call funnels, how to do it with e-commerce, like just every single thing that I know, because I have different structures for each one. And then I'm just going to put it out there and just keep it updated. Because, you know, Facebook makes these updates, let's just say every month. There's always something in that process that I shift. So it would be basically an evergreen course that constantly is updated. I have no reason to create more than one. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could probably actually check that out. What other would be good? I want to skip around to some of these questions I had jotted down. I won't ask you the one about who would win between the Abdominal Snowman and the Yeti. I'm just kidding.
I don't want to overanalyze that one.
Spend like 30 minutes talking about Bigfoot. What would you say, like, for a business that's got a low budget and they want to run ads locally? Like, what do you recommend? Because clearly I assume you would never take that on really as a client. It just never works.
It's not that it never works. It's that it really depends on the area. So, like, for example, let's just use my hometown. So I'm from Miami, Florida. Okay. Good luck running $10 a day in Miami, or even a zip code of Miami, for a chiropractic office, a dental office, a lawyer, right? It's not going to happen, because that's a city that is actively advertising all the time, right? They're getting hit up all the time from SEOs, web design companies, advertisers, primarily Facebook people these days, PPC people. Like, it's an active advertising area. The whole city itself is millions of people, right? So even if you focus on a zip code could have 20,000 people in it. So $10 a day, though it might seem like plenty for a small area like that, it could be a super affluent area that people are advertising in constantly, right? Yeah. So having low budgets in areas like that, if you're in a heavily populated area, it's just not going to convert the way you're thinking. Now, if you live in a small town, let's just use as an example, Marathon, Florida, small city in Central Florida, then $10 a day might work because it's very rare that a chiropractor, a dentist, a lawyer, landscaper, whomever is even running ads in that area. So you can be the most popular X, whatever that may be, in that entire area at a very low budget, right?
Yeah.
It's really just going to depend on the area. Now, I find that if you're spending $50 or $100 a day, which by the way is not that much anyway, most businesses that are running at an efficient level can afford $1,500 to $3,000 a month. It's not that much.
Yeah.
And if they run 50 to $100 a day, they can at least move the needle. They can get a lead here and there. I mean, if it's a lawyer, probably might take a little bit more, especially to find a qualified case to work on. But we're talking things like getting a teeth whitening appointment, getting someone who needs a back adjustment, someone who, you name it, something more localized, right? Someone who show up to your restaurant, give away a bunch of coupons. Like, you can do all that stuff for 50 to $100 a day. It's just most people don't realize that it takes time to get that to work. A lot of these companies are delusional where it's like, I'm gonna give you $500 and I expect you to bring me like 400 people to my restaurant. It's like, are you joking? That's not how it works. Yeah. This isn't how it works at all. So I think the narrative has to change first before these companies realize like, oh, I do have to put some money into it, real money into it. This isn't the $5 a day economy anymore.
Yeah.
You got to start putting in a little more than that.
Yeah. I see like a lot of unrealistic kind of scenarios of running, even at like $60 a day.
Yeah.
And then it's like, $60 a day, we better be, really churning by that point, by a 30-day mark within this, like, we got to test a ton. We got to run the ads. We got to analyze. We got to tweak, rerun, relaunch, tweak, and this is like all in the course. And then your CPA is always just terrible.
It's all over the place.
All the testing.
Yeah.
But I guess with the influx of the Facebook ads marketers that are out there, it's like, I guess they just feel like these conversions just hang on trees, just waiting to get scooped for $5 a day.
Yeah. It's definitely been the narrative that most course guys are using, is that you can do this for cheap, right? Yeah. Now, 4 or 5 years ago, if I said you can run $10 a day and get sales or get patients or get whatever, it actually was true. Like, you could definitely do $10 a day and get people inquiring about whatever it is that you put out there. But that's 4 or 5 years ago. Even a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, you could still run $5 a day a couple times here and there and get some results. But when we're looking at today in 2020, that is very rarely the case. And there's too many case studies out there of Facebook ads people who've been doing this for a year, who spend $400 or $500. They might strike gold one time in 30 days. And that gold makes them $10K for a client off $500 in spend. And they put it out there as the gospel that, oh, you could spend $500 a month and make $10K a month.
Yeah.
No, you did it one time. Show me that you do it 12 times and then I'll believe you. Because my case studies, for example, are usually anywhere between 6 to 12 months long. I've had a couple case studies that are 2 years long. And I talk about how the first 8 months, nothing was working. And then month 9, bam, everything popped. And now they're making millions of dollars, right? Yeah. None of my case studies are a month. And a lot of the stuff that's put out there these days is like, I'm sure you can go in one of these groups and find a case study that's 4 days long where someone had a 15x ROI and they're saying how I can help you do the same thing. No, you can't, dude. Show me that you held the 15x for 5 months and then I'll believe you.
Yeah.
Right? Or that you didn't put your pixel in the wrong location in order to make your data look a lot better than it really is. By the way, lots of people doing that too. Really? So, a lot of fake shit. I'm just seeing more people, 2 times return, 3 times return. Oh, that doesn't sound that sexy. You know how many people in corporate world would love a 1.25 return on their dollar spent? Tons of them. Those are the same people who would give me $400,000 a month to spend. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, stop trying to give everyone false hope. And unfortunately, that's where the local market is. It's give me $500, give me $1,000, and I will make you 10,000 back. Yeah. Like it's a coaching program. And so, it's they're not the types of people that I take on, but they're the people I consult a lot. And it just frustrates me how they're like, I saw this guy do blank. And I'm like, this conversation's about to go in a wrong direction because
Yeah.
you're telling me about someone else, not about
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Well, I got a buddy who like runs ads, and I'm just like, oh God. Do you believe in like seasoning the pixel, or do you think that's like a myth? I see
I
people
mean,
go back and forth on it.
I think this is probably not the answer you were looking for. I think it really depends. And here's why I say that, right? I run conversion ads with fresh pixels all the time. And there are plenty of threads out there where people are like, oh, it's a new account. You shouldn't be running conversion. The pixel's not seasoned. It's like I have plenty of data that supports that the moment I start running conversion and I generate leads or purchases or whatever, I can season it enough to where it just keeps running and improves over time.
Mm-hmm.
I've been running conversion since day one.
Yeah.
Then there are other accounts where I might start with engagement ads, traffic ads, reach ads, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then 30 or 60 days later, I run conversion and it's doing very well. But I think it depends more upon what it is I'm putting out there and the offer I'm trying to get people to buy into, right?
Yeah.
Because with an e-com store, I'll run a lot of engagement ads and conversion simultaneously because I need to see whether or not the ad is even grabbing people's attention. And then I want to make sure that I can convert it to a conversion ad and then it continues to convert well. Mm-hmm. And I'll do those side by side. But seasoning the pixel, it's like if your product is something that people want and you're targeting the right audience, they're going to buy that shit anyway.
Yeah.
Like the pixel had no effect upon their decision. It's just simply there so that Facebook delivers your ad to the proper person thereafter. You've already shown them who it is that you want to be in front of. So that's my definition of seasoning. It's like, all right, you found some winners, you got some people buying. At least Facebook now can shorten the process to where it's putting it more in front of people who actually buy. That's seasoning.
I'm pretty much same kind of thought process as you on that. Do the same kind of thing, just depending on the kind of client, running either traffic ads for like landing page optimizations, the engagement ads too, and to also use those to stack social proof. It's just like if it's a client selling hats, I mean, I'll probably just go straight for purchase
all day.
Pretty straightforward. But if it's a client that's got any kind of consumer education involved in it,
you got to mix and match.
Yeah, that's when I start to kind of go a little bit higher in the funnel just to start to get the people in and starting to get these ways starting to get the pixel to fire off on specific events, because I know that end goal isn't going to be one that's really probably that frequent. Yeah. And so that's why I usually do that personally myself. What would you say like are the top 3 tools that you use as a Facebook marketer that help you? Like your top 3 tools?
Just for managing ads in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm using, like I use 𝐒/₄ to manage a lot of accounts, mainly just because I could deploy split tests very quickly. Mm-hmm. But that's primarily for bigger budget accounts because the amount of split tests you can create in that thing is insane, right? Mm-hmm. I could deploy 60 campaigns with a couple clicks of a button, and next thing you know, it spends $5,000 a day right out the gate, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe not ideal. I'm just saying that's what's possible. And it's also the fact that I could just click the drop down, move to the next account, set up the whole account, boom, click publish, next account, boom. It's literally just drop down, click, and I'm interchanging accounts and working. I don't have to be an ads manager, go to business manager, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But outside of that tool, like I don't use a lot of tools specific to Facebook. I'm just using a lot of what's within the network already. Do we still use audience insights? Yes. Is it something that makes all of our decisions easier? No, right? It's just giving us something to work off of, right? We'll even take that data and sort of go to the Google keyword tool and like just backtrace it a bit to see if any websites come up from Google that maybe we didn't see in Facebook, right? Maybe we can find a couple of YouTubers and influencers and stuff like that as potential targets that we couldn't find the first time around. But there's nothing specific other than 𝐒/₄ that's like integrated within Facebook that we actually use, other than maybe like Chatmatic and ManyChat. Like we use those for bots quite a bit with our clients. And the rest is really just like everything's internal to the network. We're like going in ads manager, creating some ads for people. And the only software we really use are either the bots or something like 𝐒/₄.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I haven't used 𝐒/₄ yet. I tried to use them a couple months ago, and it said like you couldn't get on the platform or something like that.
I mean, they have their moments where it's like the connection process is off. Like something will disconnect and you got to reconnect it.
Mm-hmm.
But that same thing happens with ManyChat all the time. It's like I can have a bot flow that's just crushing, and all of a sudden I log in one day and it's like, your bot's been disconnected. It's like, what changed from yesterday?
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, none of that stuff is really perfect. I've just happened to have 𝐈𝐍 working with our accounts because we've had 𝐈𝐍 for like 4 years. You know? So it's like, it's been integrated for a while.
I'll have to try that out again. I know a lot of other people that use it.
Yeah.
And it seems super helpful. Are
It is
you
for the
running
split testing?
Are you running a lot of auto placement now? Probably more so than before, or are you still? I mean, I would say still. Like, I know your strategy or something, but like, I'm sure most people usually typically just selected like the Instagram feed, the Facebook feed, and because audience network is pretty much trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are you running auto placement now just for Facebook best practices and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I still follow their best practices, but I always do something that is more of the traditional way that I used to do it. So, for example, let's just say a CBO, right? A campaign budget optimized campaign. And in that campaign, I will have the ad sets split off as desktop and mobile, or maybe I'll have one CBO that's all desktop, another CBO that's all mobile. I'll still do that. But then I'll also have a CBO that's all auto placement. So I'm still split testing the opportunities because, good example, I have a client right now where we have that setup put together. It's all the same audiences, by the way. It's like the same 10 audiences in each CBO. But one is auto placements, one's desktop, one's mobile. We found that all the leads coming from desktop, though they're 2 times more expensive, they were applying more frequently. So we start putting more budget to the desktop only campaign. So we'll pay double the lead cost if we're getting more apps. You see what I'm saying? So we still do the split. We still do the auto. But when it's something like, let's say, an e-com store, the auto placements tend to do very well for us. But it takes like 5 days before it really starts to kick in.
Yeah.
Because they'll spend a lot of money on mobile Facebook feed, and then it's like, that didn't work. Then all of a sudden it kicks in on Instagram, boom, sales start coming in.
Yeah.
But it took us 5 days of being patient before it starts to work. So, when we're integrating something like auto placement into the mix, we have to keep in mind what it is we're running for, right? Is this an application campaign? Is this webinar registrations? Is this sales on an e-com store? Because that'll determine how far along are we letting this run before we determine if we need to split things off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we still break it apart. That was always my rule of thumb back in the day. But then like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started telling people, hey, if Facebook's really pushing this thing, they're going to give preferential treatment to it because you're using it, right? They want you to use it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, once they improve it, your results are going to get pretty damn good. It's just like how they're pushing dynamic and really hard to people right now. Like every rep I've talked to is like, yeah, use dynamic. I'm like, okay. And then let's see what happens. And I noticed my CPMs are like $10-15 cheaper in really expensive spaces just by using dynamic. So might as well see what's up.
Those best practices always, I mean, typically end up in lower costs, lower CPMs. But I mean, as a marketer, you got to like think outside the box and think that, okay, if everybody's going to the best practices, everything everybody else is doing, then, if I mix things up a little bit, I have a chance to get more conversions, more leads, whatever it is I'm trying to optimize for.
Exactly. That's why we test it all.
What would you say is your biggest headache running an agency?
I kind of touched on this the other day, which was the communication. And it's not that I have bad communication or that the client has bad communication. It's the conversation around how often we need to be communicating. And what I say by that is, and you know this because you run an agency, how often are changes being made? Pretty much every day. But how drastic are those moves unless you're spending $5,000 a day? It's not drastic enough to where the change I made Monday morning is going to have a huge effect on the performance by Tuesday afternoon. Usually got to give it a couple days, right? But if you're messaging me every single day for an update, then what's the point of me having a phone call with you? What's the point of me answering you all the time? I got to do my job. And I often find that, everyone says, oh, the higher end clients usually require the least amount of work from you, meaning not necessarily the ads themselves, but like the work involved into keeping communication and that relationship going.
Yeah.
To me, that is really dependent on the person themselves, not how much they're spending. Because I have a client that spends 6 figures a month and I never talk to him. We do
right.
email only. And
Yeah.
we might have one call a quarter, and we ask how our families are doing and how are the ads doing, because the ads are doing fine. So he has no reason to talk to me.
Of course.
But then I got the guy who spends $6,000 a month, and he's messaging me every day like every move I make is going to break his business or make it grow.
Yeah.
And it's not because of his spend. That's his personality. Because I also have a $30K a month client that does the same thing. You see what I'm saying? So I think those rules and regulations of like your communication need to be expressed from the get-go, because otherwise you're just going to be going back and forth all the time, and you can't do your thing. If anything, it makes you dread talking to them and working on their account. Yeah. Because you know that the more you work on their account, the more they're going to talk to you. And now you end up having this battle with yourself of like, do I even want to open this account today?
Yeah.
Right? So that's the biggest battle. It has nothing to do with ads. It's the person. See, it's building that relationship from the get-go that everyone respects each other's time.
You wake up and you see like all these notifications in Slack, and you're just like, oh God.
It's not, Slack now is under control. It's my messenger.
Really?
If I open Messenger, I had to turn off notifications, by the way. I had to turn them off completely to where the only way I could see it is when I open Messenger. But if I open Messenger and every single name is in bold, which means I haven't answered any of them. If I have 20 messages in bold, that means 20 people from last night have hit me up in the morning. I automatically don't feel like a good person to start the day. I automatically look at that and I go, I need to calm down a little bit, because if I start answering, I'm going to answer really aggressively with these people. Because it's like, why do I want to start my day answering 20 messages? I don't.
You get to work. You want to be like, hey, hi, this is why this. This is why this. Hey, hi, this is why this. This is why this. Hey, makes you like a bit like cynical and just like annoyed. I don't add clients rarely on Facebook ever. For that specific reason, is that they don't need to be in my personal life. They don't need to be, if I go on vacation,
they don't need to know about it.
Yeah, and thinking like, oh, this dickhead's out in Fiji, and my account's on fire. I mean, it might just be on fire anyways, but that stuff has nothing to do with it, because we can all work remotely, and it's not really a big deal at all.
I might have a slightly different tone to that, only because since day one, I've always added clients into the mix. But like, you don't see me talking about a vacation I've been on or anything like that. Like a couple years ago, I used to have this series that I would put out, basically it was like a travel adventures type of thing. So I used to label it like Travel Adventures #2, and this is where I'm going, right? And I would do that more for the sense of showing my clients like, look, shit's still running, you're still making money, and I'm over here on stage talking in front of 700 people. Like, you could trust me because you could see that everything's functioning. Yeah. It actually helped me build a relationship with quite a bit of them. I stopped doing it though. I stopped doing it because there was a year where I took 28 different trips. And one client pointed out that they saw me, they like basically were just going through my posts, and they saw how often I was leaving. And they said, I feel like you're never looking at my account. And obviously my rebuttal was like, I don't have to, because your account's crushing it and my team is taking care of it. But because they felt that I was putting no attention on it, they left.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what, screw it. What I'm going to do is just put out stuff that is valuable to the masses. I mean, you see what I put out there. Most of it has nothing to do with results pertaining to clients, right? A lot of it's insight, personal insight, business insight, whatever. And some clients don't even realize that I'm talking about them.
Yeah.
That I learned this thing from. But the whole point is that they at least see like, oh, okay, he's in the trenches, he's doing his thing. They have no idea that I wrote that when I was in some other state. They have no idea that I'm writing this 3 months ago when I was in another country. They have no idea. Yeah. Because all they see is what I'm posting. And I don't post about any of that, travel stuff or taking a break or anything like that. It's none of their business, like you said.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like literally why I don't add people onto my thing, just for that sole reason, because I don't want people feeling like if I'm gone or away from like if I'm having a life, like that I have a life outside of their account.
How dare you hang out with your family? Yeah, you should be on my account right now. Yeah. That's exactly how I feel sometimes. It's like, dude, I'm taking care of my kid.
Like you can't do anything. So it's like you just don't even want to share anything. Yeah. So yeah, I do that. I don't, I'm not the materialistic person, and hey, this is what I've got. This is because that just puts a big target on your back of,
Oh yeah.
hey, this guy, and your clients don't want to see. I think it was like Steve Jobs or something. It's like, we got an investor coming, like, go hide the Porsches or something like that, because I mean, you don't want it to.
Yeah.
Your clients see like you're making more money than them. You're supposed to be working on their. I don't know. It's just this whole like psychological mind thing, but.
Yeah, I don't have to use my car, my phone, my
Exactly.
watch, or any of that stuff to show to you that I do a good job.
Yeah.
And plus, most of the people that flaunt that stuff, most, not all, but most, you could tell it's a inferiority or something like that, where they're like, they need to feel the self-worth from themselves of like, I'm putting this out there so people could tell me how awesome I am. It's like, look, I don't need to drive a Ferrari, a Lamborghini. I mean, basically the internet marketer starter kit, right? I don't need the $4,000 Rolex, not even that much. The Lamborghini that's from 2006 instead of 2020. Like, I don't need any of that stuff to show you that I know what I'm doing. And unfortunately, and you know this because we both are in the agency game, there are quite a few agencies getting a lot of clients from that shit.
Yeah.
They're just flaunting. And my clients that are with me now don't give a crap about that stuff. So, it is what it is. I live a modest life. I don't buy a bunch of crazy shit. I take care of my family. I take care of myself. Like, that's it. If I want to buy something, if I want to splurge a little bit, I don't have to post about it. I just do it.
Yeah,
and then no one has to know what I bought. So, yeah.
I wear these like all day, every day. A Fitbit watch. It tells the same time. I was going to ask you one. Oh, this doesn't have anything to do with agency related or anything like that. But this year, what are you doing health and fitness wise? Because I think me and you both are on like the same boat in terms of trying to get better in shape this year, because just stuff is just like so draining.
Yeah. Yeah. So about 2 years ago, I had a health related incident. I was in the hospital for like almost 4 days. So I went the whole first year, basically was 2018. I went that whole year basically just like trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. I would lose 10 pounds, gain it back, lose 20 pounds, get it back. So I was in this yo-yo effect. Once I sort of figured out what worked for me, food wise, when I want to eat, do I want to fast? Do I not want to fast? Just like all these different things. 2019 is where I lost, like, I got my peak point was like I lost like 47 pounds. I've been in this yo-yo recently because I'm still figuring things out with my new child. I'm just trying to figure out the schedule. I've been bouncing around between like down 42 to down 47, right? It's the same 5 pounds keeps shifting, right? Yeah. But I'm not unhappy. Things are moving. Like, and now I'm starting to get my groove back. And basically what I'm trying to do is just basically lose another 50. And then by doing that, not only am I at the lowest I've been since I was in college, but it also puts less stress on my heart. It puts less stress on my body, because a lot of the stuff that it stemmed from was from the heart. I was putting too much pressure on that, too much stress. And so for me, I'm just, I'm not eating garbage all the time. I'm eating during certain hours of the day. Like I like to do the whole fasting thing, because for me, it's like, if I want to eat in a 2-hour window, I eat a shit ton of food in 2 hours and I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good. I've done the prolonged fasting. I've gone 3 days not eating. It doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all mental. So for me, I'm just doing what feels good. I'm not doing plant-based. I'm not vegan, keto. Keto is what made me lose all my weight in the first place. Doesn't mean I'm an advocate to the point where I'm like, keto all day and fuck everything else. No, it's whatever makes me feel good. And that plus any regimen that I'm doing in order to rebuild and fix my heart is all I'm doing. So it's regardless of whatever people are recommending to me and whatever documentary of the month has come out about some diet, right? I'm just doing what feels good, not stressing out. Stress is the silent killer anyway. You could be a vegan, stress yourself out and die at 40. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you're eating. Stress can kill you too. So for me, I'm just taking it easy, eating what makes me feel good, and then just exercising. I'm getting back to doing 5 days a week. I used to do 5 days a week religiously. And then all of a sudden, the moment my kid was born, it was like, what is the gym again? Because I just stopped going because I was just way too tired to even get out of my house. So getting that back in place.
I've been like that like the last like 4 years trying trying to like get on some sort of routine, but between, I mean, the infancy stage and then, the whole daycare thing and shuffling back and forth and getting up in the morning, getting ready. And then I've got to get work. What my wife and I started doing was a program called F45.
Yep.
And, man, that's been like, I tried it out with her one time. I was like, you know what, this is like, actually, I like this because, like I have a membership of 24 Hour Fitness, but at F45, like I just go there. It's already like this stuff that's already pre-planned and worked out. I just show up at a specific time and I'm done in 45 minutes. I get right back home, right back to work. I've got my workout done. I feel sore in like all these weird areas. So like right now it's like, man, it's like perfect for me with my lifestyle, with where I'm at, and just not having the motivation and like the enthusiasm to do it other than, trying to be healthy and stuff like that, but just not having the time because I just know, like, I'm just like so glued to my phone and my business. And that, if I'm gone for like an hour, I'll open my email and I'll see 2 emails and I'll be like, oh shit, this guy needed this or that or this or that. And it's just like, I mean, especially when I would go to the gym and I work out, by myself on my own, I just do Stairmaster and I end up, kind of slunching over. And now I'm like, kind of like looking through like emails and I'm still doing it, but like, I'm just like not in it. But with F45, I leave my phone in the car. I go in there, I do it. I put in work and then I go home. I'm hopefully trying to drop down like at least like, I don't know, maybe like 40 pounds, 30 or 40 pounds. I usually was always around like the 200 kind of mark, but I've been up to like 225, then 235, then 245. And it's like, damn, I feel like it like keeps on like going up so easily.
Mm-hmm. So. It's very easy for it to go up. Going down is the hard part. And quite honestly, like the thing with me is that when I start going to the gym frequently, I would go during hours where no one would be contacting me. And in my case, the only times of the day where no one contacts me, I'm in mountain time, is like 5 in the morning because it's still 7 Eastern. So no one on the East Coast is hitting me up yet. I have till about 7 o'clock before I start getting messages. Or I have to go to the gym at 7 o'clock in the evening, which is 9 o'clock Eastern. And then maybe the only people who are maybe messaging me are people in California.
Yeah.
Basically West Coast. So I had to figure out, do I go mad early and go to bed earlier so then I can have some energy to wake up? Or am I just going to go late in the day? But as soon as I go to the gym late in the day, I can't do anything else. I just can't. So for me, what worked was I'd wake up at 4:30 every day, like clockwork. And in 30 minutes, I was at the gym. And it worked for me because my sleep was just super effective. It was like I would knock out because I would go to the gym, come back, shower, do work all the way until whenever I need to do work, cut off that time, spend time with, my fiance, well, my wife now, but my fiance then. And then it was just like, boom, pass out, do it again. And it was just consistently working that way.
Yeah.
But now that the kid's in the picture, if I wanted to go earlier in the day, dude, I have to go to bed like 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. It's like I have to, or else it's not going to happen. So, I got to make that. I'm making that sacrifice because it works better for me. Doing hour and a half at the gym, I'm not working out the whole time. I'm doing an hour of workout and then I would jump in the sauna for 30 minutes. And then I would just be dead after that. But I'd feel amazing and then start work at 7:30, That's what worked for me.
Yeah. I think that's what it's all about, is just doing what works for you and not trying to do those yo-yo things or stuff that's just like you're going to do it for a bit, get results, and then you're not going to stick with it.
Sure. Yeah. And I listened to maybe a podcast or two while I was doing everything. So it's like I would be learning or, let's say I listen to a lot of comedian podcasts. So it's like I would be laughing the whole time I'm working out. And I'm like, I feel good. I'm starting off my day on a good note. Like nothing bothers me. So then by the time I'm home, I'm like, I listen to 2 good podcasts, or I might be listening to like a really long Joe Rogan podcast. I go home, take a shower, and I'm like, I'm set. Like nothing's going to make me angry because I just started off my day on a good note.
Yeah.
And then the days I didn't go to the gym, I often found myself like, I need to do something or else I'm not starting off my day on the note that I want to start it on. Because like I said, I can open up the phone, look at Messenger, and it's like, oh, there's 15 messages,
Yeah.
So I would find a way to do something prior to jumping on. And it would usually set the tone for the whole day.
Yeah, man, that's just so important, the health. I won't go any more into that to bore people on our health journeys, but convertroi.com is David's website. David, I appreciate you hopping on here. I know you're a busy guy, and chatting with me a little bit about Facebook ads, where you've been, what you've done, where it's going. And again, it's David Schloss with convertroi.com.